Welcome to the next video. I'm going to be talking for a half hour. Alright. Here's the Lord of the Rings audiobook. Complete trilogy, books 1 to 3 by J.R.R. Tolkien. Brought to you by HOA Ilocano Drama 2025. Does he have the rights to post this video? Well, I'm glad he did, so I get to listen to it. Okay. People on YouTube post other people's work. Okay. I post my own work. Here's this stupid Panda antivirus ad. I have Panda and I get their ads and I suffer through them. Hero Wars. The game that's famous for showing ads of gameplay you never get to do unless you are a paid member. But they don't show how the game actually is for most people. I never get to play this kind of level. Let's see. We watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure last night. Arguably Tim Burton's best movie. It's a perfect movie. Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, bought a script writing book and followed it to a T, writing the script in 3 acts. It's a perfect script and a perfect movie. The script might be second only to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because Pee Wee's Big Adventure starts and every sequence moves things forward, and there's a steady progression of events from minute to minute. No time is wasted, and I doubt that there's too much extra footage in that film, since it all just flows wonderfully from start to finish, from Pee-wee's start in his house, and God knows how he pays for it, and things proceed. He has conflicts with his greatest enemy, Francis, an overweight rich kid who's jealous of Pee-wee's bike, and every scene with Francis is just gold. I wonder what else that actor did, because he was marvelous in that role. Okay, I like to share things happening on the web that I do. Learn about this picture. I like this stuff. If MTV Cribs had traveled back in time 70,000 years, this skylit space is just the kind of Paleolithic pad they'd have toured. That's too bad that they had to mention MTV Cribs, a show I never watched. MTV used to be a music channel, a radio station with videos. Then they changed. Anyway, I just show it because it looks like something that could be built in Minecraft. That's Bad Apple. Some 30,000 bats make their home in the cave's depths. Alright, I'm already off track. Why am I making this video? It's the prologue to the Slobbit. So the idea struck like lightning yesterday to draw this comic book page. In my mind, it just started as a one-panel affair, and then I had this blank sheet of paper, and it ended up being 3 panels. And this is just to get the idea out. Okay. Isuldur and Elrond. It's mine! Isildur, just throw it in. No! In the lava you go. So Elrond just pushes Isildur over the edge in Mount Doom, and he of course falls into the lava. Truck it, problem solved. So the whole conflict with the ring could have been avoided if Elrond had just pushed Isildur over the edge. The ring would have been destroyed. Isildur would be dead. Aragorn would never have been born. So this is an alternate universe take on the Lord of the Rings. So by having this one event happen, it nullifies everything about the Lord of the Rings, because there's no great evil. It has been destroyed. There's no conflict, and everyone can live. By Elrond pushing Isildur in, millions of lives have been saved. I was sure one guy died, but he had already lost his soul since he wanted to keep the ring. And why didn't Elrond do this? Surely there's a moment in the film where there's one little moment where Elrond could have done this, but he didn't. Because Elrond's a good person, and he doesn't push people into lava, right? But the problem would have been solved, right? So maybe it was Elrond's weakness. He didn't see the bigger picture. The ring had to be destroyed. Gollum would never have found the ring. He would have lived a normal life. He would never have become Gollum. And Gollum suffered for 500 years. So all that suffering would have been spared. So maybe it is all Elrond's fault for not pushing Isildur into the lava. There's my prologue to the Slobbit, an idea I've had for years. The Hobbit movies, I saw some clips yesterday on TV. Those 3 movies just piss me off. I can't watch them. They are unbearable, and a thing that they missed is the vibe of the Hobbit book, and I don't think any of the film people actually read the book. I don't think they were interested in making a faithful adaptation. Let's see. Let's just look it up. The Hobbit, or There and Back Again, is a children's fantasy novel by the English author J.R.R. Tolkien. It was published in 1937 to wide critical acclaim, being nominated for the Carnegie Medal and awarded a prize from the New York Herald Tribune for Best Juvenile Fiction. The book is recognized as a classic in children's literature and is one of the best-selling books of all time, with over 100 million copies sold. That is amazing. Okay. The Hobbit is set in Middle-earth and follows home-loving Bilbo Baggins, the titular Hobbit, who joins the wizard Gandalf and the 13 dwarves of Thorin's company on a quest to reclaim the dwarves' home and treasure from the dragon Smaug. Bilbo's journey takes him from his peaceful, rural surroundings into more sinister territory. The story is told in the form of a picaresque or episodic quest. Several chapters introduce a new type of monster or threat. as Bilbo progresses through the landscape. Bilbo gains a new level of maturity, competence, and wisdom by accepting the disreputable, romantic, fey, and adventurous sides of his nature and applying his wits and common sense. The story reaches its climax in the Battle of Five Armies, where many of the characters and creatures from earlier chapters reemerge to engage in conflict. Personal growth and forms of heroism are central themes of the story, along with motifs of warfare. These themes have led critics to view Tolkien's own experiences during the First World War as instrumental in shaping the story. The author's scholarly knowledge of Germanic philology and interest in mythology and fairy tales are often noted as influences, but more recent fiction, including adventure stories and the works of William Morris, also played a part. The publisher was encouraged by the book's critical and financial success and therefore requested a sequel. As Tolkien's work progressed on its successor, The Lord of the Rings, he made retrospective accommodations for it in The Hobbit. These few but significant changes were integrated into the second edition. Further editions followed with minor emendations, including those reflecting Tolkien's changing concept of the world into which Bilbo stumbled. The work has never been out of print. Its ongoing legacy encompasses many adaptations for stage, screen, radio, board games, and video games. Several of these adaptations have received critical recognition on their own merits, whereas the Hobbit movie trilogy is, quite frankly, a big piece of garbage and should never have been made. The characters, the plot. Here's a map, a sketch map of Mirkwood, Erebor, the Lonely Mountain, and Esgaroth, Lake Town. Originally, the ring in The Hobbit, as conceived, was just a ring of invisibility, nothing more, I don't think. Maybe he had ideas for it. Maybe it was the One Ring, but the first printings of The Hobbit just had it as a ring of invisibility, like any old magic ring you'd find in Dungeons and Dragons. It wasn't part of this big epic adventure. And then he changed a little with The Hobbit in later editions and worked it all into the Lord of the Rings, and the rest is history. Okay. I kind of think that The Lord of the Rings is a replacement for the Bible. It's a book that people can go back to time and time again. And The Hobbit is children's literature, I guess. Though lots of adults read it. It was intended as a story for his kid, and he would probably tell the Hobbit stories as bedtime stories for his kids. And then he ended up writing the book. It all started when he was correcting a paper. Well, he wrote the word rabbit. Well, rabbit and hole makes hobbit, so he accidentally wrote hobbit instead of a rabbit going into a hole. So, quite by accident, he created the word hobbit. Okay. So, upon release. The Hobbit book was successful. We didn't have The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings in our house growing up. This is a beautiful cover, by the way. Based on a design by Tolkien. Okay. My parents didn't do the British thing. We didn't have a single Beatles album, and there were no Lord of the Rings stuff. My father was American in mind and in action. And very Mormon. Let's see. Let's see if Minecraft works. Let's see. It stopped working last night. I might have to reboot my computer to make it work. It's been on for over a day. Possibly 2. EverQuest, Entropia. Maybe I ought to reboot the computer so things will work. Okay, thanks for watching. This was a shorter video than usual. Okay. Have a good day and thanks for watching.
So where is that?
Where is this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to look again. It's Devatashka Cave in Bulgaria.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, now we know.